Garnacho to Chelsea is done. Højlund's on the brink to Napoli, and Kobbie Mainoo wants to leave on loan. As ever, please get involved in the chat with your own opinions so we can discuss them throughout today's video. Let's start with Garnacho. £40 million fixed fee plus a 10% sell-on clause. Your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are this. It just seems like a lifetime ago since Ruben Amorim told Garnacho, go and find yourself a club. But finally, it's come to an end. Both clubs finally got a compromise they've reached. So for me, both parties, they've given a little bit. I thought we was going to struggle to get some money for Garnacho. I thought Chelsea were going to really dig their heels in, but both parties come to a compromise and everyone's happy. Well, I say everyone's happy. There are some fans saying this will bite us. This will bite us in the future. But let's wait and see. He's been a disruptive at Manchester United. Let's hope he calms down. Will it happen?
He's been a negative influence, obviously, inside the club, a disruptive influence, as you just added there, and it's clearly broke down with Garnacho at Manchester United, and the way they've handled it, obviously, with him being put into that so-called bomb squad, he was never going to really get much higher than the fee they've actually got of a £40 million fixed fee. So I think they've done quite well there, Manchester United. I think if all that wouldn't have gone on in the background, you'd have probably got a bit more, maybe that 50 to 60 million pound, but he's out the door. I mean, that's what we wanted here as fans. You know, these players with a negative energy, not pulling in the same direction out of the club. So there's been some movement there. Rasmus Højlund as well looks surplus to requirements under Ruben Amorim, and he's on the brink to a move to Napoli.
Yeah, well, I just look at Garnacho, 40 million. Yeah, I think it's fair, to be honest with you, in the circumstances. But I look at it, he was adamant he was going to Chelsea, didn't look anywhere else. And I thought it was a bit strange not even looking at Bayern Munich. I mean, Bayern Munich, great club, but he didn't want to know. And he's got a 7-year contract. Now that could have been the reason why he was sticking with Chelsea. I mean, that could settle him down, to be honest with you. Long-term contract. Some people will look at it and say, it was all about the contract, all about the money. That's the cynics out there. And they might be right, to be honest with you. But he's going there and he has to prove his potential, because we've always said there's something in him as a player. There is potential, but there is something also on the other side of him. And we've seen that other side of him. Can he change? Well, the cynics don't think so.
I do think it's a player as well. You know, for me personally, when a player leaves Manchester United, you know, in recent years, the only one really I've kept an eye on is Scott McTominay. But I think this is a player in Garnacho that a lot of fans will keep an eye on as well. Obviously, still in the Premier League, because it'll be interesting to see how he actually does develop, if at all, at Chelsea. You know, it's always been a question mark above Garnacho's head about his attitude, his application at Manchester United. So it'd be interesting to see if that actually does change, because you can have all the talent in the world. If the attitude's not right, you're not going to make it. So it's an interesting one.
Well, what a time for him to go to Chelsea. He's got a couple of weeks. And who do we play in a few weeks' time? Chelsea.
Yeah.
My God, he will work hard as anything to try and get in that squad, get on the bench minimum. He's obviously not fit or anything, but can you imagine it? Playing Chelsea, he's on the pitch. What an attitude he'll have. He will fight like you've never seen it before to prove all us fans wrong, to prove the manager and the club wrong. He's got a bee in his bonnet. He thinks he should be playing every game. He certainly thought he should be starting that game in the Europa League final. And he just turned very, very bitter. But I'll tell you something. Me personally, as a United fan, I can't wait to play Chelsea. I just can't wait to play Chelsea, because I want him in the team. I really, really do. I want him in the team, and I want to cut him down. I want to stop him playing, and I want our players to really go for him. And make sure he does nothing to damage Manchester United, because as far as I'm concerned, he's already done enough damage with his sulking and his social media outbursts.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he does start for Chelsea, especially on that left-hand side, him up against the likes of Lenny Yoro on the right side of our defence. And yeah, you can already see him picture the headlines if he does have a worlder, Garnacho, in that game. But it's up to us to stop him. It's up to us to win every game and get points on the table. And it feels on the weekend, all of a sudden, this early in the season, Burnley now is a huge game, but we are going to get onto that later on in the video.
Yeah.
Two Stent Den has become a member. Welcome to our members club, mate.
You.
A lot of you's already getting involved, having a chat with each other. Neil Marshall says, I don't remember Garnacho causing any problems under Erik ten Hag. John says, Tom Heaton should be in goal against Burnley. We're going to get onto that shortly as well. But Rasmus Højlund, I mean, a lot of fans out there wanted to see Rasmus stay this season to provide that competition for Sesko and just to see if he was going to improve, especially with having the likes of Cunha and Mbeumo behind him as well.
Yeah, I think some fans wanted him to stay to see if he could improve. People know he's a good lad and all that, and he's trying hard. And also they want to see if he did do it. And for the reason being is we've got players in Cunha and Mbeumo up there, and we've got now a new striker. And it might have helped. And we was hoping that the service from these players, what we've signed, would provide him and make him a better player. But hey, there's no sentiment here from United. It's you're out and that's it. We brought in a centre forward. We're having one centre forward. That's how it looks. He's used Ruben Amorim, a false nine. So he thinks there's a couple of ways to go and he's surplus to requirement. So it's 2 years at United. He hasn't done it. We all got opinions on why he hasn't done it. So it varies, these opinions. Mine, I don't think he was given enough service. I think he was up there isolated a lot. And when you look at what happened at the end of the season, 5 people were put in the bomb squad, and that's what was going on around him. And you look at Rashford, you look at Garnacho and Anthony, and did they really give him any service while they were there? Yeah. I don't think so. I think he's had a raw deal. But hey, he's got something new to go at now. So let's hope he knuckles down, gets on it, and I just wish him all the best. Let's hope this gets done, because it just seems to have been going on a little too long for me. Rasmus is the one what says, I'm going on my terms. So there might be a little bit of a hiccup here. Hopefully it gets done over the weekend. We play Burnley and then we can just forget Rasmus and then just concentrate on coming back from that international break.
I mean, Ruben Amorim against Grimsby after the game more or less questioned the players' attitude and application in that game. And it's not something you can point the finger at with Rasmus Højlund, really, especially even last season during them tough times. He still always worked hard. But as we know, it's not just about hard work. You need that quality as well. I just think it's a little bit too soon, me. And you touched on a great point there. Last season, he had the likes of Garnacho, Rashford, Anthony all behind him, and the team was just all mixed up, you know, basically a mash-up on it of, you know, week on week, you know, different players playing in certain positions, chopping and changing, and we never had no settled side. So for me, I think it's a little bit too soon, but, you know, it looks like we're getting 40 million in the bank.
Yeah.
40 million with Garnacho. Is that going to pay off the free signings of what we've already made, or can we actually go and use that to maybe get another 2 players in? Well,
it's funny, isn't it? You know, we're going to sell players and use that money to buy players. Very convenient for United not to spend that money by this deal being done at the very end. And the same when you look at Garnacho, there's a deal, okay, 80 million, what could have been used to buy players, and the deals have been done at the very end. And I have questioned, why did they sell Højlund and put him up for sale right near the end of the transfer window when they knew they were going to get a striker in May, and they really should have put him up for sale then and then able to use the money. So that's me being a cynic, and I think a lot of people out there will sort of scratch their heads and go, you know what, 2 players sold at the end, 80 million in the bank, but now we've not got time to go out there and get a player. Or have we? Because if that deal gets done, could we use that money to go and get Belieber? Who knows? You just never know the games what are being played. But as a cynic, which I am at my age at times, right, I look at it and think it's too late. By the time the money comes in, no deal can be done.
You're using a lot of words recently with a lot of flavour on them. I'm starting to like it, especially in the last few shows. Fred Grantham, who's our moderator in the live chat today, says smash the like button and it helps the channel. Keep getting them early likes in. And yeah, a lot of people getting involved. Rainman says, is Cheeto also leaving? I've not seen any latest reports, my mate.
No, he's not leaving.
From what I heard, I think it was about last week, 2 weeks ago, that they do want to keep him rather than send him out on loan, which now leads me on to Kobbie Mainoo. He is someone who does want to leave on loan in this transfer window. Your thoughts on that?
Well, my first thoughts are it's football. He wants to play football, and you can't criticise anyone who wants to play football. We've all been told that Bruno is blocking his path. That's his position where Ruben Amorim sees him. But there's also international football. He wants to get back to that standard, and we know the standard to get in there. He really played well. He's not guaranteed a regular game time here. So for a young lad who's chomping at the bit, we know that he's not going to get a regular starting place. And really, should he really sort of say, I'm going to rot here? Because that's how it seems to him. He wants to play football, and going to another club might be good. Would that lead to something? Would it lead to him playing well, and then all the doors are open for Kobbie Mainoo then to leave and get a transfer and get some money for him? You know, we all know there's been chat, hasn't there, for a long time now about him wanting more money and a new contract and all that. So when he leaves, I think if he leaves on a loan, I don't think we'll see him again, to be perfectly honest with you.
I don't think there's any chance at all, sticking my neck out here, that he leaves on loan in this transfer window. A transfer fee, definitely possible, but I don't think that benefits Manchester United whatsoever, letting him go on loan. I mean, his wages on, what is it, 20 grand a week? I mean, that is really low compared to the modern day footballer and compared to some people currently in that squad. So getting his wages off the books, does that make a huge difference? No, it doesn't. And by keeping him there as well, you've still got the opportunity to use him for rotation minutes when needed. And you know, there has been a lot of talk, especially over the last couple of months, especially from the guys in the Athletic, that Man United have remained calm in this transfer window. But it's always been suggested that if a bid does come in between 40 and 50 million pound, Manchester United would more than likely take that.
You've got to look at the player, haven't you? And people out there will be saying this. Why would you want a player? I mean, we've got the Bond squad because they're disruptive. They're not good for the squad. They're not good for the environment. So why would you put a player in who clearly wants to play football, right, in the squad and not play him, and have someone who really is not happy? You don't want people in the squad who are not happy. Ruben Amorim is cutting the squad down. He wants to work with a smaller squad. That's what we've all heard. So there's less chance of him getting a game if it's only the position for Bruno. So for me, I look at it, this is the beginning of the end, I think. That's my opinion. That's how I look at it, because he's not going to get game time. And you don't want... Listen, I thought we was changing. You don't want a player what's not happy. He wants to play football. And if he's not playing football, he'll just be walking around, sulking, and quite rightly so. He's a young lad, wants to get out there, wants to play football. And it's not the right thing. It's not the environment you want. I thought all that had gone. It's only over the last few days, everything seems to have been blown up in the air regarding people's attitudes, players' attitudes. You know, even the manager, you know, it's all blown up in the air. And you want this sorting out. You cannot have what you call a player, and we all know he's a good player, moping around, because there will be stories after stories. And if you go about his contract, how many times have we seen over the last 18 months? Stories coming out about his contract. He wants this, 180, 200. We don't need all that. I thought we was trying to get rid of all that negativity. And having Kobbie in the squad will create negativity when the kid all he wants to do is play football.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Take it with a pinch of salt, them numbers about 180 grand a week. I mean, I know these footballers are in their own bubble and are detached from the real world, so to speak, these days. But I don't think Kobbie or his team around him are daft enough to think that he would get 180 grand here at Manchester United or anywhere else, to be quite honest with you. But I do think the lad's deserving of a new and an improved contract, especially if it's true that he's on 20 grand a week, considering what he's already done at United. And I know people will say, well, what's he done? But I still think he's got huge potential, that lad, to be a top player. And Gail, thanks for your super chat.
Thank you.
And behind Ruben Amorim, but Ole and Jose now available. Could the stars be aligning? Thoughts if Ruben walks? Well, Thoughts on Ollie and Mourinho is that, just like other managers, they've deserved to be sacked because results in the end dictate whether a manager stays or goes.
That's
and
true.
If you take yourself back, I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I mean, I've had the privilege to meet him along with you. What a fantastic bloke. We know what he's done for the football club. But in the end, it was quite clear the results weren't going our way and he couldn't change it. You see now Jose Mourinho towards the end, I mean, he stunk the place out here at Old Trafford towards the end with his attitude. And we've not just seen that at Manchester United, we've seen it at other clubs as well. David Moyes, in the end, he deserved to be sacked because the results weren't going our way. I think there's only Louis van Gaal I look at since Fergie and think he was changed way, way too soon. Especially after winning the FA Cup, he should have been given at least another year. But I can't say that really about any other managers post-Fergie. I think when they've been chopped, I think it's been the right times. Maybe one or two have outlasted it longer than they should have done.
If you want change in football at Manchester United and you want to change the culture and everything else and you want to move forward at pace, you don't look back to bring in somebody in. You can't bring Ollie back. You can't even consider it. You can't consider Jose Mourinho. They've moved on in life. Their attitude's changed. And this club's changing. And we're still in turmoil. They wouldn't sort this out. And I don't think the majority of fans would even consider it, to be honest with you. I think it's just paper talk because they've both been sacked at the same time. So for me, you can forget bringing any other manager in. And when Kieron talks about these managers have been sacked and sacked for the reason the results matter, well, that still applies to Ruben Amorim. Results do matter. And this game is a massive game for 3 points. And that's all we should all be concentrating on this weekend. 3 points. And the same with Ruben Amorim.
Malps from our members club. Thanks for your super chat, my mate. Says, did Tony sleep well after the Grimsby defeat? Did you sleep well? I actually didn't ask you about that.
Yeah, I actually slept well. I got up early, but I slept well. You know, it was clear as day. I give me after match, clear as day, what went on. Seen a few things people didn't see. Next day, I seen other things, you know what I mean? No, I slept well because it was what it was. And I did say the week before, well, the build-up to the Fulham game, I did say there's something wrong and I don't know what it is because of the noise coming out from the media and things like that. And the last week, it's just been noise. Let's hope it all calms down. Yeah, I'm sleeping well.
Matt, thanks for your super chat, my mate. Amorim wants him to up his intensity. Kobbie's response is, I want to go. Fergie would have left him in Grimsby. He's 20 years old. Who does he think he is?
Well, there's that way of looking at it.
I just thought the part of Amorim wants to up his intensity. Kobbie's response is, I want to go. I mean, that is one way to look at it, mate. I mean, he's publicly said, hasn't he, about Kobbie, about the intensity and finding that rhythm. I mean, the thing is, and what I've always thought since that Fulham game, his post-match comments is, any player out there knows if you're up against Bruno Fernandes and you're fighting for that place, whether Bruno Fernandes is fully fit or he's carrying a knock, he always plays. Even if he's having a poor game, he doesn't tend to be took off either. So, Kobbie, I'm backing his thought process here, Mainoo. A World Cup year coming up. He wants to play football. He's a young lad. But, I mean, look, to send him out on loan, I don't think will happen. But I think there's still a possibility there that United would actually take a fee between that 40 or 50 million pound. And that is something that does worry me because just me personally, I think he's got a high ceiling to do well, but just maybe in a different system under a different manager possibly. I mean, the question marks are still there about seeing improvement currently with Ruben Amorim, his system and the setup going forward. So
I look at it in this way. Very strange way for me to look at it. So you might be a little bit baffled by this. You know, intensity. Everyone's got the level of intensity. And I look at it from my own experience. I remember when I was a young lad, I used to do cross country, 400 metres, 800 metres and everything. And there was this one lad, right? And I could never beat him. And I made sure that I went on cross country because he was in it. Because I used to look at him and watch, right, that's what he does.
That's your competition.
Right? there it is. I've got to beat him. The kid was the best in school and everything. And I looked at him, didn't hate him or anything like that. I just seen it at him. I wanted it, and I wanted to beat him, but I could never get past my level, and that's Kobbie Mainoo. So when he's talking about Ruben Amorim, he has to increase the intensity. We've all got our level, and what you have to do, you have to be used like I was used at school in the relay and everything else like that. I was used to go in the cross country only to bump up the numbers. I was never seen as being able to win. I was like dying at the end of it, you know what I mean? I was never competing because I couldn't compete. He had my level. So Kobbie's got his level, and he's got skills, and he's got trickery. He's got the pass. He can see what's going on.
Yeah.
But he's not being used in the right way. That's how I see it. So when you talk about intensity, he has to up it. I think it's the wrong thing to do. You've got a player, and what you do, you use him, you use his skills and everything to the benefit of the team, and he's just excluded him. That's how I read it.
Yeah, I do believe, like I've mentioned before and discussed it, that if we did bring in that top quality ball-winning midfielder, I think you'd see the likes of Fernandes become a better player in that central midfield, Kobbie Mainoo as well, but we still need that ball-winning midfielder because Casemiro clearly isn't that anymore. He's been here probably 1 or 2 seasons too long. I mean, Agati for me, I thought he got criticised and criticism more than he should have done last season, considering he had no pre-season at all. And I thought he had some good games. But since that West Ham game here at home towards the end of the season, it's like he's completely fell out of favour with Ruben Amorim to me. And you look on the pre-season tour as well. It was at the Everton game that we played. He just fell off a cliff in terms of his performance that day. And it's like he's not really recovered. But I was expecting him to be like one of the main players this season. I've got to be honest with you. Well, but it seems like he's not got into gear yet.
I think a lot of people expected him to raise the game, and he has seemed to have fallen off a cliff. You know, pre-season, every touch of a ball and that, it just went pear-shaped. Yeah. So maybe this is one of the things Ruben Amorim's looking at, and he's frustrated with it, and he keeps hammering it to players like Ugarte and other players. So that frustration is with us all with Ugarte, because that's what he was brought in for. We waited a long time to bring him in, and we brought him in. And I just thought to myself, this is a good player, and he did play some good games, but seems to have fell off. Now, has he just fell off with his intensity, or is there more going on? And then, obviously, after the Grimsby game, he threw a proper strop, Ruben Amorim, and one of them drops what it was aimed at Ugarte, and he might have just blown a fuse as if to say, I've had enough. I keep telling him. And probably one of the reasons why he was just sat there, right, with his hands on his head half the time. Well, that's how it seemed to me in the dugout at Grimsby, because he's just had enough of telling these players over and over again, this is what I want. You know, you're a professional footballer, you know what to do, and they're just not doing it. Now, are they incapable of doing it? Now, that's a different story.
I do want to get onto the latest news and conversation around the goalkeeper shortly, plus looking ahead to that game against Burnley tomorrow on Saturday. But I've got a couple of comments to read out first. Ray Carl Brown, thanks for your super chat, mate.
Thank you.
We have been hoodwinked again. 3 games in, and it feels like the same old disaster story. From United manager to players, this is painful. Let you answer that one first.
I said yesterday, I think we're being told lies. Waffle, as I call it. I don't see how we can go from getting a bomb squad sorted out to players, manager, officials in the club all being optimistic, all saying it's great, everyone's together and everything. And within the space of, 48 hours after the Arsenal game, little things were being said. And then obviously you see what happened in the game against Fulham. Once Bruno missed that penalty, he just lost the plot. Players lost the plot. The play was so wide open. Fans just were not happy at all, because they just come through the middle, through the midfield, running at us, and the players just all fell back, tried to defend the 1-0, which Ruben Amorim actually said they wanted the win more importantly than the actual performance. Then the players weren't listening to instructions. They desperately wanted the 3 points and tried to hang on. But we know that you can't play like that every game. So there was a lot of discontent building up to that Fulham game. And then after it, I think a few choice words have been said. I'm just baffled how the mood has changed. And I think right through the summer, I think we've been told lies.
Let us know your opinions on that, about the summer and the positive energy that did come out of the club and where we are currently now. Do you see any positive changes? Do you think there's still a lot of time more to give to Ruben Amorim and the people in the background? But there's only a matter of days to go until that transfer window slams shut. Patrick Shields, thanks for your super chat.
Thank you.
He says, I'm just contributing to the Night Nurse Fund for Tony. Another chat has come in from Matt. Thanks for your super chat, mate. This is Manchester United. Who cares if it's a World Cup year? Fergie's Reds always said United came before England. Club has said we want players to play for Manchester United. That includes internationals, in my opinion.
Well, if you go over the last 5 years, let's say, my God, I've seen some comments. I've made them myself, to be honest with you. When it comes between United and England, there has been some really big arguments on this channel and all over the place when it comes to club and country. You look at Luke Shaw, you look at Harry Maguire, and then it's coming down to Kobbie. Kobbie wants to play football. He's not prepared to sit about, and that's what he wants. He wants football. He knows he's not getting it, and I think that's a simple choice for him. So, you know, under Fergie and or whoever, you know, club should come before country. That's how I see it. That's how most United fans see it. But Kobbie wants to play football. He's not prepared to sit and idle around. He's got the talent and it needs to be used proper. So off you go, Kobbie. And I can't argue with it.
DB Cooper from our members club says, good day, fellas. At least one of our players scored a goal against Grimsby. Positivity. I mean, if you want to go a little bit further on the positivity, mate, actually scored 13 goals against Grimsby, if you want to look at it that way in positivity. But I just want to get on to the latest news as well on the goalkeeping situation at Manchester United. I think it's one of the most important things, if not the most important, during the last few days of this window. And as we currently stand at a football club, to be honest with you, and at the moment we're seeing Lammens from Royal Antwerp. There's still no deal confirmed or completed, but Manchester United are still in talks. Is this a deal you expect to get done?
This is ridiculous. What a situation we're in. You know, someone said before, play what's his name now, the third goalkeeper?
Tom Eaton.
Play Tom Eaton. Absolutely, what a joke. This is Manchester United playing Tom Eaton at his age. Give over. This is turning into a joke. You know, reports out there, if they're to be believed, we believed them, £17 million. What's holding that up? I mean, what is holding that up? The desperation for a goalkeeper is there. But the idiotic way it's been done, right, should have been done 3 months ago when the transfer window opened. It was clearly a priority for everybody that a goalkeeper needed to come in. I always thought they were going to keep Onana. Now, I'm not sure whether it's Onana they're trying to get rid of by bringing a goalkeeper in.
Why do you think they was going to keep Onana? Based on what?
Based on, I don't think anyone wanted to buy him, right? The amount of money. And I think Ruben Amorim, really, after seeing all the carnage and everything and overseeing it all, said, right, this is how we're going to do it. And I think they were just prepared. I think United were prepared, right, to go through the season with him, to start the season with him. That's how I've seen it, to start the season. Now, they might have changed their mind in January, okay, but that gave him time to really look around and see what was available. That's how I've seen it. If he did the business, then fine, they'd probably keep him to the end of the year and then still look at a top-class goalkeeper. And they do need a top-class goalkeeper. But this seems too messy for no reason. Absolutely. This has caused carnage in the fan base, this issue, this situation, when there's actually no need for it. It should have been acted on 3 months ago. The same with a midfield player. I don't understand why this carnage has been left to now. It's just madness.
Considering what's going on at Manchester United, especially in the last 7 days, Grimsby, question marks about the manager and his future, Kobbie Mainoo possibly leaving. I think it's the most important thing right now at the football club to get sorted, and that is the goalkeeping position. Because no matter what manager you bring in or chop and change, that's not going to get any better with them goalkeepers that you've got to choose from.
No.
Bayinde, Onana, Tom Heaton, not one of them, like I've said, will get in any other starting Premier League team. I mean, it's a huge, huge problem where I think a lot of fans out there agree that it's going to cost us points this season, no matter what manager you've got in the dugout. So he's got to stand half a chance by getting him a goalkeeper in, just who can do the basics and catch a ball.
We've got to get a goalkeeper in, right? But it's £17 million. What's the hold-up? What's the hold-up? I mean, that's madness. It's £17 million. And reports out there, what I've seen, what I've heard, he wants to come to Manchester United. What's the hold-up? Yeah. It's, you know, no one's telling us the reality of what's going on. This is a merry-go-round. We've got 3 goalkeepers, right? Are they trying to push 1, 2 goalkeepers out? And they can't get rid of them. But they don't want to tell us that. That's why this goalkeeper's not coming. So that's my theory, that they can't get rid, right, of one goalkeeper. And I'm not too sure which one it is, Bayinde or Onana. Okay, we've all got our different choices. So that might be the hold-up, that we can't get rid of one of them. And that's why we can't bring in a £17 million goalkeeper who wants to come here. Now, tell me if I'm wrong here. I think this has been going on, or this was circulated 3 weeks ago. I'm baffled.
Matt's come back. Thanks for your super chat, my mate.
Cheers, pal.
I'm backing Amorim all the way. Academy players will be coming through. We just need to weed out the ones that bleed for the club or are looking to blow smoke up their own backside, or say cucumber, just in case there's any little aids listening. Rant over, ha ha ha. Matt, thanks for your super chats today, my mate, and your opinions, some top opinions in there today, mate.
Well, I look at Ruben Amorim, everyone's got to get behind him tomorrow, just like they've all got to get behind the players tomorrow. 3 points is what's needed. And if 3 points were ever needed by a manager, it's tomorrow against Burnley. But we've got to back him. Now, this might be all smokescreen. This might be a deliberate act of throwing out all these comments and behaving in a certain way to bring attention, whether it's with the consent of the people running the club, the men in suits and all that. This might just be a way of like outing out certain players, or even in Ruben Amorim's head, motivating them. You just don't know. And Ruben did say the other night, when the international breaks here, he'll be telling us.
Do you think as fans, and this is just a question out there, it's just popped into me head, we're very early on in the season, it's hardly even kicked off yet, let's face it. Do you think we're overreacting, micro-analysing stuff too much here at Manchester United and what's going on? And this manager just needs time and a few more games to get this right?
Listen, football fans react. They're emotional, always have been. That's the lifeblood of football fans, being emotional and all that and reacting. Okay, and we're reacting to comments, to news reports and press reports and all that. Okay, and when I reacted the other day, I said I think I've been lied to all summer because we've all had positive vibes and all that. But that's the lifeblood. Fans having a reaction, the passion and everything. That's what makes football so great. And why wouldn't you react to someone coming out with a statement or a manager in a strange behaviour in a game against a fourth tier side? Yeah, we're going to react. We're football fans. There's nothing down with that. But so long as like you don't really go right in, that's fine. Having a conversation and sort of eyeballing it and going, wasn't that strange? That's a conversation. That's what you do. But sometimes it can go way over the top. I don't believe we go way over the top in insult. We don't scream for the manager to be sacked. I'm all behind Ruben. I want him to succeed. But at the end of the day, if he comes over, right, and it is a results-based business, like you said before, Kieran, that's what it is. When we talked about Ollie, when we talked about Jose Mourinho, it's a results-based business in the end. You can have as many arguments as a manager and all that. Any company, any business, you're always going to have internal strife at some point, and you just hope it gets sorted out. And I hope it gets sorted out and we can move on. Because I did say yesterday, if this doesn't get sorted out and we don't get results and the worst situation happens, that suddenly a manager's not here because of certain reasons or whatever, right? I do fear, and I genuinely do fear, for the next 10 years for Manchester United. I really do. I
always said, and I think you agreed at the time, since January, I was always saying that I was giving him for the first 10 games of this season, and look at it after them 10 games to see how he's improved this squad. I wasn't expecting real progress like top 4, top 5 places come the end of the season. I just wanted to see improvement in the team. Smiles on the players' faces, smiles on the fans' faces coming away more often than not from the actual games. But we also said before that Grimsby game, these are 2 games coming up this week that are 2 non-negotiables. We have to win them. And we all know as a fan base, we've seen it all before, that when certain results go against our way, which they have done against Grimsby, and if they do against Burnley, we know what the reactions are out there, and we know what it puts the club and the men in suits in a position where they have to have that conversation of whether he stays or whether he goes. And if the manager is actually, from what reports are coming out, or especially over the last 24 hours, is again considering handing in his resignation or walking, however you want to put it, I mean, he's got to go. From my point of view, you can't have a Manchester United manager, right, having a conversation there with the club and basically wanting to leave the football club, just walk out.
Considering.
Well, okay, I'll put it a different way. If a Manchester United manager is considering leaving the football club, get him out now. Well, because you're in a privileged position, no matter what's going on behind the scenes with players, if you're not getting your own players or not, never in a million years should you consider leaving. Not for the second time as well. Let's have that right. But for me, I'm fully behind him. You know, I'm going to support him tomorrow. I'm going to support the team, but it's the club first. Well, and if you're considering leaving Manchester United, forget the consideration. Just go, just leave. And that goes for any players as well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, I look at it, if a manager is under pressure, any manager, I'm not talking about Ruben, right? I'm talking about any manager. If a manager starts having doubts, that feeds through to the players and everything. Correct. And if he's expressing doubts to the hierarchy and all that, right, then the hierarchy will look at it and say, well, look, it's not working out. We're going to have to look elsewhere and that. So I don't know if them conversations are going out there, because at the moment, and I did say, I don't believe what we're being told is the truth about most things, especially over this summer. Yeah. So at the moment, I think this is could be a lot of noise and everything else like that. So for me, if a manager is expressing doubt, any manager, anywhere, like any player really, because if a player starts expressing doubt, right, the intensity's gone. He's not right at the top of his game, and it goes the same for any manager. So I look at Ruben, right, and I say, let's get this Saturday game over with. Let's get 3 points, right? Let the dust settle, right, and let's move on from there. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see another manager leave or sacked, right, because I repeat it, because I fear. But if it's not working and there's an agreement with any manager, with its owners, people who are running the club, then you have to accept that it's not working. But I don't think we're at that at this moment, and it's too early. It's too early. Too early in the season. There's a lot of doubts.
I know, but he's creating his own headlines. The discussions that we're having today about him, yesterday, and everyone else out there, he's the one creating that with his words after matches, and we've touched on it recently. To me, he seems to have been doing that since we got beat at home here against Brighton in the season, last season, sorry. And, you know, he'll come out with some mad comments, things that don't make sense after the game, because he's highly emotional. We can all see that. And we're all emotional about our club, let's face it. But then you see in the following press conference for the following game, he seems to sit there, have a smile, and smooths it all out, as though his words after the previous game were misjudged or wrote down by people or interpreted out there by people. And it's come on, mate, you know, you did actually say that. Let's not start pushing the boat out.
Well, I look at it this way, okay? We're all made up. Every United fan is made up. And no one's talked about it for a long time. There's no sneaky team releases an hour before the game and things like that. There's no players going out there talking to press or leaking things, is there? That's all been closed down, because we've all been led to believe the bomb squad is out, okay? And certain people in that bomb squad were leaking things. So things have changed, the culture's changed and everything. So everything like that has closed down. And what's fascinating is now the headlines are being created by a manager. in his mannerisms, in his approach to press conferences, doing more interviews, which I'm baffled at. And listen, last year I was calling, and I've been calling for a long time, stop doing all these interviews and that. It's not doing him any good because he's being too honest. And so for me, he should stop doing all these, because if that's his nature, he comes out and he can't help himself and come out with his feelings and he can't disguise it, then it's doing no good for the club. So you just don't know going forward after this weekend with a break for the England, right? He might sit down, there might be discussions already going on that, hey, this is what we need to do. You need to be a little bit savvy here and there. So things might change. So let's get the weekend over with before we cut any legs off anybody. So we've got an international break. Let's all relax. Let's get behind the team and let's get 3 points.
Being honest and impulsive as a manager sometimes doesn't make a great mix, and that's what I think the problems are after games with Ruben Amorim, creating his own headlines when we do suffer a defeat. Maybe that can be managed a little bit better by him, and maybe some of the players inside the actual squad as well are listening to some of the statements as well, and it's not going down. It's not helping. It's not going down well in the dressing room. But who knows? Because it just feels like the mood in what he's saying, and not behind the scenes, but in press conferences, interviews, before and after that Fulham game, something just ain't sitting right with me. But I'm just going to go into the chat. Ray Carl Brown, thanks for your super chat. We need a goalkeeper. Onana will not get any better. We don't understand what's going on. I totally agree with Onana, mate.
That's a classic one.
Catch a cold.
Onana won't get any better. Onana's getting worse. Worse. Can't catch a ball. Comes out for the ball, right, and totally misses it. Nowhere near it. He jumped 2 feet in front of it as though he was catching the ball. The ball went past him. I don't know what he was watching there when the shot for the first goal the other day, right? It was slow as anything. Slow as anything. I mean, I've got a bad bat. I could have got down quicker than him. I'm being honest. I could have got down. We all seen that coming. Near post, right there. It's getting worse. He's got no confidence. I did say it last year. The moment he got dropped, that's a goalkeeper. That's a goalkeeper's confidence. Very hard to get a goalkeeper's confidence back. And the man was frightened to death the other day. Frightened to death. Pressure poured on him. Can't cope with it. It's as simple as that. That's how I see it. And I think United have just tried to hang on to him for too long.
Feels like a huge game already, even so early in the season, Samara. But I do enjoy it. Where you feel as a supporter, you turn up at the game, you've got to get behind your manager, you back your manager, your players. Obviously, it's the club first, but we need to, as fans, do our bit. But then it's up to the manager and the players to then go out there and perform and get the results. And I just hope, I do pray that tomorrow, we do see some good football, but we also get them 3 points, especially then going into that international break, because we've got, is it roughly 10 days then until we play City after Burnley? So we want to go in there with at least 3 points and a decent performance, surely.
Well, I always look at game day. I'm always optimistic about game day. My mood completely changes and everything. And I have the privilege, like today, walking around Old Trafford in the morning and that, listen, you'd be surprised what happens here the day before the game. Massive queues at 10 o'clock this morning outside the megastore. I met 7 Polish lads, right, who all watch the channel and everything, know about me, talk about me, and we was out there having photographs and everything. That just gives me the buzz. I met a bloke and a woman pulled up in a car, watched the channel, Irish lad and his son in the bar here at Hotel Football, chatting away to him football. So my mood always changes the day before a game, because I see United fans and I see them from all over the world, and it's absolutely brilliant, and that's what keeps me going. So for me, it's all about the football now, and just doing what we should be doing, and that's winning games.
A lot of he's getting involved in different opinions. A lot of it is down to the goalkeeper as well. And like I say, I think that's the most important conversation and what needs to happen in these next few days. And that is getting a goalkeeper, not whether the manager's staying or going, or whether Kobbie Mainoo wants out or not on loan. It's that we've got to go and get that goalkeeper, because I don't think anything changes unless we actually get that keeper and someone who can just do the basics in catching a ball.
Well, why hasn't it changed? Why hasn't the conversation changed from 3 weeks ago, getting this goalkeeper? I said it a few minutes ago. It's only costing £17 million and he wants to come. So why hasn't that conversation changed?
Yeah, just like to thank you all for joining us today, getting involved as usual in the chat. It's been popping off in there, to be fair. Loads of negative opinions, which is great to see. Please continue it as well in the comment section below. Smash a like on today's video as well, because you know how much it helps the channel and today's video. We'll be back later on in the morning, I think, with a match preview, looking at Manchester United versus Burnley. A bit of a drive up to here to Hotel Football on the morning of the game. So come and join us, get that notification on, and we'll see you soon. Enjoy the Friday, everyone, and we'll see you shortly. Thank you.
Thank you.